So the weather.
The weather, guys. How's it going? All right, guys. Well, welcome out. Episode, 5?
Yeah, we're on 5.
We're on 5 already?
So 5.
Goodness. Let me take a coffee sip.
Yeah, we are filming a little bit early today, so still waking up a little bit.
A little bit of a wake up.
Coffee.
Yeah, it's like, we say early, but it's 10:20 right now.
You didn't have to reveal that.
That's early for us, man. I'm usually in bed till like 1 p.m. Because we work nights. But now, guys, welcome out. Josh, let's give some updates.
Updates.
Sports, life. What are you feeling right now?
Yeah,
Lots going on.
Nothing really too crazy in the life that new, at least. We are going to have a fun little river trip this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Sitting out, baking in the sun, gathering up the cancer.
I did go last weekend too.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't even get the invite.
I'm sorry.
Like, you just went. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You're going to the river. I have the day off. It's whatever.
I'm sorry. I thought you were busy. That's on me.
It's okay. I was busy, actually, doing nothing.
Dang, you're making me feel bad already. No, but went to the river last weekend, going to go this weekend, so starting off the summer strong. But besides that, just same old, same old. What about you?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I run the most interesting life in the world. Okay?
Absolutely nothing.
I work, and then I sleep, and I play video games when I'm not working or sleeping. So,
Hey, I love it.
Right now I should be sleeping, but I'm awake. Right? But it's all important. It's all for y'all. All for y'all right here.
That seemed very projected at me.
I know. All very much projected at Josh. I had to look at the camera for that one.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know why.
But yeah, other than that, NBA is going on right now. The playoffs are going on right now. We have Roland Garros, tennis, big major Grand Slam in France going on. I know right now it was a pretty heated battle, no pun intended, against the Heat and the Celtics. Because it was 3-3.
Yeah.
And they won, and they're going into the finals. That was pretty exciting. Actually, the reason I really know about that is because my last lesson of the day on Monday night, asked to cancel because he wanted to watch the playoffs.
No way.
But he couldn't cancel because he didn't want the whole 24-hour notice thing. So he didn't want to
cancel and
lose the money. So I just loaded up the scores, and we were just honestly we didn't even pay attention half the lesson. We were just looking at the scores and keeping up with the game. And so that was a lot of fun. And they're playing the Nuggets in the finals now. That's going to be interesting.
Crazy.
When was the last time the Nuggets were in the finals? I don't even know.
I don't know either. It's been a while. Jokic, the number one player for the Nuggets, is a monster right now. He should have won MVP for the third year in a row, but they have this politics thing in the NBA where they're like, they don't want to give it to somebody 3 years in a row because Jordan got it, I think, 3 years in a row, and they don't want people to compare him to Jordan. It's this weird thing, but so they gave it to somebody else. But
it's kind of a rigged system then. It sounds kind of rigged.
It is weird. It's all about if you're not like LeBron James and you're having MVP season, they're not going to give it to you. It's all about who you are, how fun you are to watch.
That's like telling Djokovic or Nadal, hey, you can't win any more Grand Slams after 20.
Exactly. It's very similar. Yeah, exactly. The Heat, though, played the Celtics, like you were talking about. They were up 3-0. Everyone was talking about how the Heat are going to the finals. It's over for the Celtics. The Celtics win 2 away games in a row, which in the playoffs, a home game gives you like a 75% advantage usually. That's roughly how many times the home team wins. Celtics won 2 back-to-back. So they were supposed to lose both of those. They won. Then they won their home game to make it 3-3. So they had the momentum, and they're at home. So they had this huge chance of winning this game to go to the finals. And then they choke. They lose by like 20 points.
Jeez, yeah, that's just rough. That's funny as hell. That's good. I'm glad that it got to at least 3-3 because let's face it, no one likes a conference championship.
Exactly.
That's just a blowout. It's just boring.
It's not fun.
It's not fun at all. What about tennis? You been keeping up with tennis?
So I haven't been watching, but I have been keeping up a little bit with the scores. The big things I noticed was the 2 seed. Did you see that?
Who's 2 right now?
Medvedev.
How's he doing? I know Alcaraz is 1.
First round.
He lost first round.
It was his first match. He might have had the bye, but I noticed
he lost his first match. I know Isner also lost first round too.
Yep.
Let's go Americans. Can't hold up.
Classic Americans when it comes to tennis. But yeah, no. So he lost, and the other one was Auger Aliassime.
How's he doing? He lost too. He
lost as well. So those were the 2 seeded guys that lost early on.
I know Alcaraz won his first round. I haven't really kept up too much from it. I know Djokovic won, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a Djokovic. I think Djokovic is ranked 3, so he's going to have to play against Alcaraz before the finals.
He is. I noticed he was in the top
half. He's going to have to play him in the semis, I think.
I thought he was 5.
Is Djokovic 5?
I thought he was a 5 seed. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was seeded 5. It's either 3 or 5.
Still, if it's an odd number, he's going to have to play before the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of suck. I wish it would be a Djokovic-Alcaraz final. That would be fun. Because I don't think I don't even know if they've played each other. But that would be a big match. That'd be huge for Alcaraz to beat Djokovic. I'm rooting for Alcaraz here.
Dude, yeah.
I do not like Djokovic whatsoever.
Oh, I would love Djokovic to win another one just because the guy has not played so many tournaments yet. He still has one of the most Grand Slams.
Dude, I just want Alcaraz to start his
reign.
His reign. Yeah, his reign is like the upcoming king. Like, I think it's so funny that he came into the game so much later than like Medvedev and Zverev and all that, and he's out here winning tournaments like it's nothing.
He's seeded
and he's 1 seed. He just overtook them all, and that's like the best thing ever because I'm just crazy. Like, I do not like those other 3. We that from the first podcast we did.
Mm-hmm.
The second podcast we did.
Yeah, that
where they're just like they're all my least favorite players.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, are they ready?
I think they're ready.
For those of y'all that are watching on YouTube, sorry, Spotify. There's just this weird black cardboard cutout thing on our table. Just wanted to hide a new member of the podcast. We finally did it. We got some sponsors out there.
Yep.
Not really.
From El Paso.
From the desert. Right, guys? Just want to, let's go ahead. Let's get the reveal. And here we go. This is Jeffrey, guys. He is our newest member of the crew. Notice he's also red, just like our logo. He is a cactus.
We don't know what type.
We don't know what type, right? He's an orphan.
Mm-hmm. We found him.
We found him on the side of the road. I'm not sure if that's illegal or not. Okay, but we took him because he's ours.
There was just something about him that it was like he was screaming at us. He was like, "Guys, I want to be on the podcast."
Exactly. Yeah. And really, that's all you got to do is just scream at us about being on the podcast, and you'll be on. We'll get you. You get to sit right here. But you're going to be behind Jeffrey. Jeffrey's always in front.
If you're a cactus.
If you're a cactus, yes.
Yeah. So it only applies to a certain type of people. But yeah, no, we're excited. We got our first bit of decoration.
Yeah, it's going to improve over time.
Yeah.
Don't worry. But I think getting on to the main topic, Josh, what was high school for you? What was it like for you?
Okay, so yeah, the main topic, going kind of down the school system route.
Yeah, we're talking just schools. We're talking about high school, grade school, our experiences, if anything fun happens. If you could describe high school or just grade school in one word, what would you describe it as? And as we can hear the sirens in the background to really show the immediacy of this question, the importance.
The one that came to mind first, which wasn't the one I was going to say, but the first thing that came to mind was miserable.
Miserable?
Yeah.
Okay. Why miserable? Were you bullied a lot?
No, I wasn't bullied.
Did you get made fun of?
No, I didn't. Why are all these things?
Because you have red hair.
Okay. Right now, I'm getting bullied on the podcast.
Hey, it's not bullying. I'm just pointing out, your features.
I'm just kidding.
Right?
The reason I say miserable is because it would be like if you don't like something, like say you didn't like the sport of basketball, and you were forced. What's up?
Oh, I just need.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Say you don't like the sport of basketball.
Yeah.
and you were forced to play basketball every day for 10 years straight, how would you feel about basketball?
I probably wouldn't like basketball.
You would not like basketball.
Not.
That's how I feel about school. So school was never something I enjoyed, never something that brought me enjoyment. I did enjoy the social aspect.
So are you endorsing not going to school?
No, I'm just saying my experience.
Just making sure.
That's why I said miserable.
Making sure, because, for all of our viewer, we want to make sure that they know that they need to go to school still.
Yes, no. Just because I was miserable does not mean you're miserable in school. So that was just my experience. What about you for, let's just start high school.
One word, just waste.
Waste.
Just a waste.
Wow, we are destroying high school right now.
Dude, high school, I learned more in kindergarten than I did in high school or junior high. At least in kindergarten, we had days where we would cook, and we would have to make meals and do stuff like that. And so, I learned a lot more in kindergarten than high school. High school and junior high, it was just all skills that I'm sure you agree, right? Things that we learned, and I haven't even used them.
I would say a good 95 plus percent.
I guess it's good to be educated and have a sense of knowledge when it comes to that. But, I think the biggest thing that I learned from school was that book smarts are not nearly as important as just street smarts.
I'll bounce off that. It's I agree. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you enjoy. If you enjoy something that requires that, great, then it was for you. But the percentage of people that go to school, I would say probably 90% or more people don't use jobs that the school system
I think, yeah. Well, and with that, I think if you're going to go to school, you're really going to use maybe 10% of what you learned.
Yeah.
If not less. Because, let's say if you want to do something in math, right? Obviously, the math classes are going to be important to you. But in all honesty,
not
right?
all math.
When it comes to math, really the stuff that you're going to use, if you get a career in math, it's going to be stuff you learn in college. Right? And I guess you do have that background from high school to get you into college, but really everything can be learned, right? I can learn, if I want to learn a language, I can start learning a language right now. I didn't have to start learning it when I was younger. I could just get right into it right now. So really there's no need to learn it,
It's if you're not interested in it.
Exactly.
Then
it's
why would you learn it? It's forced learning that you don't even want to do.
It's I don't even remember when the Gettysburg Address was. What was the point of that?
Exactly.
I wanted to go to school for I went to school for advertising and marketing, and it's just okay, cool. Well, we have World War II, and that's a big one. It's what do I do with that in advertising, or even math? What do I do with that? Sure, there's numbers, but it's more numbers that we're just looking at, and we're not solving equations. You know? The only classes I liked. Oh, actually, we'll go back to you. What was your favorite class, though? You had to have a favorite at least. Which one did you actually kind of enjoy? It's
funny because the one I enjoyed the most, I think, is the most important when it comes to the importance of school, and that is history.
Okay, I do enjoy history. I do like history. That's one of the classes I did like.
I enjoyed it because it was real. It's something that can apply to me because it's actually happened in the past with people in this world, and all the other subjects are things that aren't real to me because I don't use them.
Yeah.
I don't use math on a daily basis. I don't use, and when I say math, I mean the majority of what I learned in the math classes. I don't use that. I use English, but
you speak it.
I'm very bad at it. So I didn't enjoy it. But yes, I do use that. And then science, no, I don't even want to talk about science.
Yep. No, history was definitely good. I like history. I love history. That's one thing that I do like. I hate how history now is just getting torn away because everyone's trying to censor everything, and everyone gets all butthurt about, certain topics. When, I get that, a lot of people, it kind of pushes a lot of people's buttons, but it happened, and it's not like we can't just think it or pretend it never happened. It did, history is history.
Exactly.
Art was my favorite one. I loved art. Art was easy. It was fun.
That's definitely one of my favorites too.
We did a lot, whether it was just drawing, painting, graphic design.
It's creative.
I think that's the most important thing when it comes to school is just building up that creativity because it kind of forces you to have to be creative. especially for the kids that aren't creative, and now they have to kind of learn how to be creative. And I think that's such an important skill to. I gotta move Jeffrey over. I think that's a super important skill to have, you know, as a child going into, you know, being an adult. Is just being able to be creative and not be boring. You know, you don't want to be boring out 100%. There. You know, there's some boring people out there in the world, and it's quite obvious. It's quite obvious, and it just makes them unappealing, you know, unattractive. You know, just
very dull,
and unresponsive. And so I know art was big for me, definitely. My senior year of high school, I took 7 art classes. I could have graduated early, but I was like, I want to raise my GPA.
That's awesome.
And so I talked to my art teacher, and I was like, hey, like I want to enroll in all these art classes. And I was like, is that doable? And she was like, yeah, sure. And she even, like, it was 6 of them, and then the 7th one, she actually just created a class for me. And shout out to Miss Mills, Lavernia High School. Let's go.
Wait, you got 7 art classes? That's all you were doing in school?
Oh, and then I took a physics class.
That was your schedule one year?
I had to take physics. That was my schedule for my last year.
Oh my
last year. And I wanted to have a free period to just work on my stuff. And so my high school art teacher was just like, yeah, I'll just create like an art assistant where you'll just come in the morning, and then you'll just kind of set stuff up for the class for the start of the day. Dude, and then you can do whatever you want. And
not a lot of people get that.
Yeah, I never really set up anything. It was just, just work on your stuff. And she was like, if you want, you can take a nap, because it was me and 2 other people. She made this class for the 3 of us. And dude, it was pretty sick. That's most of the time. And we would have to run errands, like probably get in trouble if this was 10 years ago, but like she would just give us her car keys, and she'd be like, hey, go to the primary school and pick up all the art in their little art show and bring it back here. Right? Or she'd give me $20, and she'd be like, hey, Nick, drive to Bill Miller's, order some tacos, get whatever you want, and then come back and bring it back.
I honestly don't see that as a negative. I mean,
we weren't allowed to leave this campus. That was the thing, because we just weren't allowed to leave campus, let alone driving the teacher's car 20 minutes down the road.
But if your job is to be an assistant, I know you can't leave the school like legally or whatever, but you're.
But no, I didn't mind it. Dude, I got to. I mean, I had to get to school early, but then I got to just leave, jam out to music, have fun for an hour, and then come back, and then be like, okay, time to go to art.
That's awesome, dude.
And the best part though was I was in like 6 art classes, other than 7 was the assistant one. But we worked on the same exact projects in all of them. So instead of me having to work on one project 7 times, I had 7 periods to just work on only one project.
Oh, wow. Right? So you weren't doing whatever everybody else was doing?
Well, we were, right? But just every class was graded at a different scale, because some were more advanced than others, but we were still working on the same thing. And so she was like, yeah, you can just, instead of having to do the project 7 times, just do it one time, and I'll just grade it depending on the class. So yours was like way better than everybody else. So I had like all day to work on my stuff, and people only had like 50 minutes a day to work on their stuff. I had 7 hours.
That's so sick.
And so that was great. And then I went to physics, and physics was easy. It was fun because my teacher was she was pretty cool. She was like a college teacher also, so she'd teach night school. So she was super strict, but
yeah, dude, that's awesome. Art's fun. I mean, I see a lot of benefits with the creative aspect. I think if any of those subjects help you in the real world the most, I would say art and English, because of the fact of how much art builds creativity. It builds being passionate about something and going in 100%. You can do that with anything. You can do that with literally this
art shows definitely dedication and time management for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that from when you used to produce music and make music, right? You can't just do it just overnight. It takes a while.
No,
it takes a while. It takes a long amount of time. So you got to be dedicated, and you got to just be proactive about it.
And you can get better. You can cut down your time on it and get better at it, but you're exactly right. It's not going to just happen overnight. You have to put in a lot of work.
I mean, that's why movies and albums, they take years to come out, because it just, you got to make sure everything's just perfect. And so,
exactly.
But yeah,
I wanted to bring it to college when it comes to a major. So when you find a major or have a major you like, let's say archaeology, and then you want to become a school teacher. All of that time going into that major, you're narrowing in, you're limiting yourself by.
Oh, dude, college is even worse, man.
Instead of, you would think going to college, you want to be able to have lots of options, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I disagree with the college system when it comes to the majors.
Yeah,
you're narrowing yourself.
I mean, nowadays, really having a college degree, again, is pretty useless. It's pretty useless. You know, you have a much better chance of kind of making it in the world by going to trade school. You know, going
trade school or just getting involved with what you want to do at 17, 18.
Yeah.
And just grinding.
Just grinding it out. You know, going to trade school, going to become a plumber or an electrician, you know, going to, you know, you see it all the time, you know, like we get our hair cut somewhere, right? You know, beauty, you know, people going to beauty school to go learn how to cut hair.
Flipping houses.
You know, real estate, all those things, you know, you can make so much money doing that and you don't need a degree. You know, I mean, the biggest thing, the only thing that I will say that a degree does help you with, right? And I actually saw this on Instagram. I was scrolling through and it was like the big reason that people enjoy having a degree, because let's face it, you can get a degree in absolutely anything and it will increase your odds of getting a job. And it's because the employer sees that you, and this was this guy on Instagram, I can't remember his name, but he was like, no, the employer sees that you have a bachelor's or a master's. And so what they know from that is, okay, you obviously, it means that you work hard. You stuck with something for 4 years. You didn't give up. So it shows that you're dedicated.
It's a time thing.
And that you're willing to put the time in, right? And so that I saw that and I was like, you know what, that does make sense. And I was like, but when it comes to that, I was like, okay, like I actually really did like that, but it doesn't matter what you get your degree in, right? Because that's what they see. That's what they look at. And it's like, okay, well, they put their time and effort into this. They didn't give up. They stuck through it all 4 years, which means that if we hire them, you know, most likely they're going to stick through it. They're going to learn.
I agree with that.
You know, they might have trouble, but they're going to get past that and then they're going to be able to be successful.
At the end of the day, though, the thing that's going to get you the job is you. So
that's true too.
If you have a degree, that's great. If two people are standing next to each other, one has a degree, one doesn't, they aren't really looking at that though. They want to hire somebody that's going to get the job done.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yes, the degree helps when it comes to, they know you're dedicated, you put a lot of time in, but if you're not a good worker or you don't put in the work because you spent 10 years just learning all this useless knowledge, now you're doing the job and you don't know what to do because but the person next to you had been doing that job for maybe 5 years and knows what they're doing more than you do. Who are you going to pick?
Yeah, that's true. Experience is a big thing too.
Yeah.
You know, what were any good stories, man, from high school or college? I have one that'll be really fun to say. You know, I've never said it, you know, on camera. I've only told a select few people.
All right, I'll tell one.
And I'm going to tell the world.
Okay, I'll tell one too. Let's start with, are you starting in high school? Okay.
Let's do one from high school. Maybe one, maybe two. We have it if it's short, and then we can do like one from college.
One from high school. Oh, yikes. I'll let you start with the high school one so I can think a little bit.
Okay, so
I have my college one.
Pretty drastic.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So, dude, when I was in high school, my junior year of high school. Was it my junior year? Might have been my senior year. No, it was my junior year. It was my second to last year in high school. And I was not doing good in the class. Yeah. You know, I had like a 72 or something like that in an English class. And so what I did was I told my art teacher, because I would go to her class and I'd be like, hey, I had my report card. And I was like, hey, I want to digitize all my records. So can you scan these into the computer? And she was like, yeah, for sure. So she scanned them in. She gave me the file. I had my computer. Dude, I open up my report card in Photoshop and I change all my grades to where they're higher up. Not by like a lot, but just enough to where the C was a B. You know, maybe my B's would go a little bit higher and be higher B's. And I Photoshopped it and then I printed it out and then I folded it up, put it in the envelope and I mailed it to my house to where that's the grades that my parents saw.
And you did that how many times?
I did this just once.
Okay.
Did it just once. It wasn't the last report card. It was the third one. You know, so you know how it was every 9 weeks? Was that for y'all too?
Yep.
Yeah, so it was
every
on that third one we got it. And so my parents saw it and they were like, oh, hey, good job. I'm like, you know, you made all A's and B's perfect. And I was like, not really, but okay. Dude,
That's terrible.
No, it gets better. This one's a little long, but I'll try and run through it quickly. So 9 weeks goes by, right? We get our last report cards in. I'm trying to intercept this thing, man. I'm trying to get it through because they mail it to you, that very last one.
It's like when you send...
So I'm checking the mail every day.
It's like when you send the underwear to the wrong house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just kidding.
but yeah, so I'm checking the mail every day. And the one day I don't check it, my parents check it, and they open up the letter, and they see my grades, and they're just like, oh, nice. But then they see the previous, because you know how on report cards it shows every little 9-week period. And they look at the previous 9-week period, and they're just like, Nick, why are your grades different than what we saw last time? And I'm like, I don't know. It must be an error. Must be a printing error. Because then they bring out the other report card, they see it, and they're just like, yeah, these are different. You're making C's, but then it shows that you're making B's. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is really confusing to me too. You know, it could be, I know that year they just switched over to like a new like grading system online. And I was like, maybe there's just a bug in the system. And dude, oh my God, my parents were livid.
Did they find out?
No, they never found out.
Oh,
dude, they were livid. They went to the school, they went to the principal, they were like, what's going on here? You know, I had a progress report that I actually did forge my English professor's signature on. I like crossed out the number and I wrote a higher number and then I put his initials.
Oh my goodness.
I actually found his initials and I traced them. That way they were perfect. And so I was in meetings all throughout the summer, probably 2-3 times a week. We'd be in that office trying to figure it out. It got to the point where we had to call the English teacher because he was out of the country or out of the state to talk about it, about the signature. And I was like, yeah, you definitely signed it. And he's like, I don't remember. And I was just like, well, it's right here. And the principal was just like, yeah, this is your signature. And he was just like, oh, whatever, okay. And he's like, I guess I did. And I just, he's like, on my records, it doesn't show it. But if that's my signature and if it's real, then, nothing we can really do there. Right. And they even, for the report card, they brought in a guy with like his, like all his equipment to check if it was forged. Dude, and they could not find out.
Are you serious?
They did not figure it out. They were just like, the guy made the comment. I always remember it. He's like, you must be, this is either real or you are very well equipped in Photoshop. And I was just like, I am very well equipped in Photoshop.
That's
dude.
Awesome.
And they eventually just gave me those grades that I wrote down.
No way.
So I got my higher grades. I mean, it didn't affect anything because it's high school. Like, who cares?
That's still crazy, though.
But yeah, to this day, my parents don't know. So they might find out if they ever find themselves watching this podcast. My brother doesn't know. He does watch this podcast. So this is going to be fun for me to talk to him about. But yeah, so like I was able to change my grades. And it was a big thing because my dad had to take work off to go have these meetings. Like a lot of time was sacrificed. I didn't have a summer that year before my senior year because we were just we couldn't travel because we had to go to these meetings all the time. Yeah. But yeah, it was really funny. It was really good. My mom was involved in the school too. Like it was the best.
Dude, you just like ruined so many people's days. They're like they got their binoculars. They're like trying to figure out.
Dude, it was like the whole thing where it was like the little thing that like they put on the paper with the light and they have to look through it to like see the ink and see how it is. And I mean, report cards are printed, so it's not like you have to look at like the ink of a ballpoint pen. Yeah, there's ways to look at that. If it's just printing, then that's super hard to tell. But I made sure everything was blended well. I would just get the numbers, like on the report card. I would just cut out on Photoshop like the numbers that I needed, and then just paste them over the numbers that I didn't want.
So it's the exact same font.
So it's the same font, same size, same everything.
Dang, that's scary. That's crazy.
I'm really good at Photoshop
now. My story, it's not super school related. It is during when I was in high school. So I was on the tennis team going in. I was on JV at the time, and it was the summer going in.
You didn't get to varsity, man?
I was a freshman. I wasn't that good at tennis.
I was a freshman in varsity teams.
Okay, my team was really good. But anyway, I was going on the varsity team for my sophomore year, but I was still on JV at the time. Me and my family, we go to Colorado. I'm with a friend of mine, and he was the friend that just got married. We were climbing a mountain off trail. So it was a massive mountain on the side of this river that we were climbing. We looked at it, we're like, okay, this looks like we can climb it within probably like get back down by the end of the day. Basically just like a day thing. So we get to the top. We take pictures. I got like my iPod Touch at the time. It was a long time ago. Yeah,
dude, with the little tiny camera. If it even had a camera, did it even have a camera?
It did. It was very bad, but I was like, yeah, taking pictures on the top of the mountain. Like, yo, just climb this mountain, no biggie, kind of vibe. And then we're on our way down, but I forgot I was wearing my slippery shoes. So you know how like in tennis, sometimes you'll wear shoes that you can't slide, and then you'll wear shoes that you can.
Yeah.
Well, I was wearing the ones that are really slidable. They're super slick at the bottom.
Just no grip.
Yeah, bad grip. It's downhill. There's loose rocks. It's just not a good combination. And we're going down, and one thing, you know how like when you're walking and then downhill and then you like turns into a little jog, turns into a run, and you can't stop.
And you just can't see. And you just keep going. And you just start barrel rolling.
I rolled for 70 feet to 100 feet and then landed, and I didn't even mean for this to happen, in a patch of cactus.
You landed on Jeffrey?
I'm not even,
Dude,
joke.
It was Jeffrey's people.
No joke, but thanks, homie. Cactuses, when I landed in the patch, it caught me, like I hit the patch of cactus and it immediately, my back stuck to it. Because it was that bad. It was, my dad and my friend had to like pull a massive piece of cactus off my back. Like just like pull it out.
Oh God, that sounds awful.
I had to go to the ER and everything, but that was crazy. I almost died. If I didn't land in the patch of cactus,
Dude, if you had told me that story without mentioning names, I would have definitely thought Sam.
That's so messed up. Shout out Sam if you're watching.
For sure. We can clip that. That way he'll see that for sure.
That's funny.
No, I really would have thought like, oh yeah, that seems like a thing Sam would have done. You know, either
climbing the mountain.
No, falling.
Falling. Oh my gosh.
Either that or Adam. Adam would have been funny.
Tuna. Tuna, classic tuna flopper. If you're watching Tuna, shout out.
But yeah, no, that would have been that would have been it too. But dang, dude, that sucks. That just sounds painful. I can't even stand I have tattoos, but I can't stand needles like that. Those are huge.
That night, dude, laying on my bed with like, I would say thousands of cactus needles in my back, it felt like I was like laying on nails. Oh. But it was so numb at the point, it wasn't too bad.
Did you have to just lay on your stomach?
No, because even on my stomach was cactus because I was rolling.
Oh, God.
And so,
that's awful.
Luckily, I didn't get it in my eyes or anything. But what happened was, it was so bad. I was pulling cactus needles out of my skin for the next whole year.
Jeez.
Every now and then I would just see one. I'm like, oh. But because there were so many of them, like, you know how like if you get you hurt your leg or something, it hurts.
Yeah.
But imagine you getting hurt everywhere. You don't. That might hurt more one day. This might hurt the next day. It's the same idea of so many needles that I was just numb to all of them at the point where I was just finding them every now and then, pulling them out of my back.
Just pulling them out. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Terrible. That sounds terrible. That's like my irrational fear is just falling on a cactus. You know.
Let's go to college. What was your college experience?
Oh my gosh, college, man. My college experiences, I don't even remember college, man. Like, I don't remember my freshman year. I do not remember my sophomore year. I remember a little bit of my junior year because that's when I slowed down, right? And then my last year and a half, 2 years, when I transferred to Texas State, it was like repeat. So I don't remember the first year at Texas State. And then I remember the next two because I was just trying to graduate. So I had to kind of buckle down a little more, stop drinking as much.
So your college years were pretty much your party years.
My college years were pretty much my party years. I remember we used to, I played tennis and my coach absolutely hated me because I was always late or, I would, show up to practice, just tired, a little dizzy. And he hated me for sure, for sure. It wasn't until I started dating like his team favorite women's player that he actually started to talk to me. And then when that ended, he went straight back to being like, screw you, Nick. I don't really care if you play or not. So that was fun.
That's fun.
But college was definitely something. I think my favorite memory, right, was I used to, when I got to Texas State, when I didn't know as many people, and even like a little bit at TLU, but mainly Texas State, was I would just bring my Yeti and I'd have like vodka and like apple juice and cranberry juice in there. And I would just take that to class. And I would just be coasting throughout the day. Yeah. I was just relaxing. Nothing crazy, but it was just enough to just settle the nerves. And that was like a kind of a fun little memory. Don't condone drinking in public though, so don't do that, guys.
Yeah.
But when you're in college, you kind of just do stupid things. You just gotta kind of watch out.
You kind of also
watch out. Stay safe though.
Yeah, you learn from them. Like, you'll do a lot of stupid stuff in college or when you're young, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm not doing that again, or that was fun, I might do that again. Like, you kind of start to learn from these experiences. Like, hey, you start to know what's important to you, and for some people they enjoy it, and that's awesome. But yeah, especially when you start getting older, it's like you want to kind of slow down.
You want to slow it down
on all that stuff.
I guess that probably the biggest thing that I remember from college was, gosh, when I was in college. I mean, what are we talking? Are we talking TLU or Texas State?
Both for you. For me, it would be like UMHB and Texas State as well.
Yeah, I just remember when I was at, we'll say TLU. TLU, I was an art major at the time before I transferred over to advertising, and I remember we would go to class, and I never did a project on time.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I finished them on time, but
sounds like
I would procrastinate to like the last second, and then I'd find myself spending like 32 hours in a row just working on something that I had like 6 weeks to work on, just to finish it.
Is it like is it the thing where you're like, oh, this will only take me 2 hours, let me do it 2 hours before it's due? Kind of, where
it's just like, oh yeah, this will only take me a day or two. So instead of working on it for 6 weeks, I'll work on it for just a day or two.
Yeah.
And I would wait to the last minute and be like, oh shoot, I have to hurry. And then I would get there and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it. But luckily I always did, because, art was easy for me, but it still wasn't the best stuff I could really do. I mean, we talked about the team and how my coach just despised me, didn't like me at all.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Hey, my high school coach didn't like me, so I can relate with you on that one. Coaches are weird, man. They're either really cool or not so much.
Yeah. I do remember, when you're talking about rolling in the cactus. And when I was at TLU, I pledged a fraternity.
Out of context, that's so funny.
I know, it's so out of context. I mean, I was thinking about the cactus.
No, I know, but like just saying, when you were talking about rolling through the cactus, like no one just rolls through the cactus. It gave me the memory of, I remember I pledged a fraternity, and during our pledge season, we all had to go. We had like our pledge nights, or it was like our route. We had to do like a rally, or we had to like do a bunch of tasks out in like the wilderness. And we went out, and I remember there was one time where we had to do this game where it was like, like whenever, have you ever seen like football practice where like they're having to like tackle into each other and like push each other down? I guess that's like for like the linemen. I forget what this is called. It's like
I don't remember
hitting drill or something.
Yeah, it's just like a hitting drill. Well, we had to do that. And so me and this other guy line up, and we're about the same build. He's a little bit bigger than me, so I was a little nervous. And so all of a sudden, oh wait, no, that's not what it was. It was 2 teams, and we had like 5 people per teams, and the goal was to try and get to the other side first.
As a team.
So you had to like tackle. People could hold, people could tackle, and so they say go, and we're running, and I see this one guy, the same guy, right? Not as a little bit bigger than me, but nothing too crazy. And he gets me, and I kind of tackle him a little bit, but then he gets me, and he throws me into this patch of grass. It wasn't cactus in a sense of like what you got. It was like these little tiny needles, and these are really soft, luckily. But I rolled in it, and there were just these needles, like hair thin. You can see. The ones that got me,
you can't pull out.
You can't. Yeah, these ones don't come out. Yeah. But yeah, so they were all over me. It was cold. It was in February. It was like 30 degrees outside. I was layered up in like so many clothes. And luckily I drove there. And so because I got just attacked by this cactus, and I had some cuts and everything, they were like, okay, Nick, you know what? You're good. You can go. Like, we'll excuse you, just because obviously you can't do the rest of the night. We would go from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m., right? Just doing a bunch of stuff. And this was at like 10:30, right at the start. And they're like, you can go home. Dude, I just went into my car. I literally took off all my clothes. I was just almost butt naked, just driving back 45 minutes because I couldn't wear my clothes because they were just needles in them. I just had to throw all the clothes away because they were so small that they were just interwoven in all of my like shirt.
Yeah, I remember
pants.
The shoes that I had. like stickers.
Yeah.
My shoes were covered in stickers. Like you couldn't even see the shoe anymore. It was so many.
It was pretty bad, but it was still a lot of fun though. I got that experience in there.
Yeah, definitely. It's something you remember too. That's something huge about these.
Big thing I remember, and a lot of people still remember it when I bring it up. But yeah, so that's really it for me from high school and college. Nothing else too crazy.
Yeah,
just being the teacher's pet for my art teacher. My brother was a genius, and so he was like on track to be valedictorian. But then he went to college when he was 16, and so
wow.
all of the teachers there knew who he was, and so when I came into high school, they instantly knew who I was, and so luckily I was on everyone's good side.
That's good. That's good.
It was just like right in the back. I was spoiled, but yeah, that's really it. That's really it. What do you think is wrong?
Can I do one college story?
Oh, for sure. Hell yeah.
Before we transition, this one I wasn't gonna say, but I want to now, and but I won't say names or say it all.
Is it what I think it is?
Probably.
Oh my gosh,
the UMHP tennis one?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to say all of it or names or anything. But basically, so I would go on trips over to different states with the tennis team. I went to Mary Hardin Baylor. It was 2018, so if you're on that team, shout out, guys. Basically, we did a 4-state trip where we went to Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, back to Texas. And so on this trip, we went through all the states. We're tired. We just want to relax, maybe go out, get some drinks. And so that was kind of the vibe we were in. And we were all the way back into Texas. Last tournament was in Dallas. And what's the head of all of the sports? What is that called? Athletic director. He shows up to the hotel at like 7:00. He's staying the night. He's hanging out with our coach at the time. And so the athletic director was there this trip. And so me and my teammates decide to throw a massive party.
Oh my goodness.
In our hotel room with the athletic director there. We were trying to
were you trying to hide it from him?
Right? Yeah, we weren't inviting him or
just
anything.
Like a silent disco.
So we were across the hall from the athletic director while we were going crazy. We had like wine bags everywhere. The room was the best. We had a match. We had a match the next day. And,
oh my gosh.
And so yeah, we did that, and then was
it just one of the older teammates bought everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody provided us with a lot of
you had a sponsor?
A lot of the stuff, and then basically that wasn't it. We not only threw a party, but we went out that night to, I'm not going to say where, but somewhere you probably shouldn't be when the athletic director is at your hotel.
Yeah, I know this story. Goodness gracious.
And hopefully you picked up on that if you're watching or listening. And basically we get back to the hotel at like 4 or 5 a.m. and we're not in a good place. And then we wake up at 8 a.m. for a match. And I played line 1 doubles and lost 8-1.
8-1.
And then in my second match, I don't remember any of the matches, by the way.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't remember either.
The second match I played line 2 singles, and I think I got to a tiebreak playing in that condition. And my coach was telling me, hey man, you got to do this, and I was like, okay,
well, we got this.
I was like, I'm gonna hit the ball.
I'm just gonna try and make contact.
Oh my goodness!
I'm trying to walk straight here, guys.
Literally, and
just let me do my thing.
My coach knew what was up, but at the same time, it's like it was a very, very memorable. That was the most fun experience I ever had from college. It was definitely risky, and I wouldn't condone it.
I thought you were gonna tell a different story at first, and then I started hearing it, and I was like, oh, okay, I remember this
different story. Which
I
one
thought you were gonna tell a story about experience.
No, I wasn't going to do that one. No, not that.
That one's for
another time. That one's for the night podcast.
That one's for the night podcast for sure. But all right, well then, out of high school, college, grade school, what do you think is wrong with it right now?
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned this.
You know, what do you think is wrong, and what do you think is right?
That's good. I'll start with the right, just because I don't want to be too negative. Some things that are really good is the social aspect, especially in our modern era where people are, like we talked about in one of our other podcasts, people are secluding themselves. They're not wanting to go outside as much. So it's kind of we're becoming a very lonely society.
Especially, I feel like with like online school kind of developing now.
Exactly. Yeah, that too.
With COVID.
And that's the biggest positive is the interactions with people that have the similar goals is huge when it comes to making friends, meeting people that have the same passion you have. And so school is a great way for especially young kids to develop some social skills. A little ASMR from the cactus right now for those listening on Spotify. But yeah, no, that's the positive. There's lots of negatives, of course, when it comes to the school system. The big one, I think, for me is there's not an ability to, I feel like, dive into a passion at an early age. I think that's so important for our youth, is to be able to find something you enjoy and try to make that a career. People are they have this kind of pressure, I feel like, especially from parents to, oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do this. And if they don't want to do that, it's not what they're going to be doing later in life, or they're going to be miserable. And it comes back to the word I used earlier, school being miserable. Yeah. So what about you? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, the good and the bad. We'll start with the good, obviously. That way we can stay on that same track. You know, like you said, I like the social aspect of it. I think it's a good way to kind of make, you know, those lifetime friends. Yeah. I mean, you just got to watch out, man. I remember in high school, I mean, if I look back at everyone that I went to high school with, man, it's wild. I mean,
a lot of people are still stuck in high school.
And a lot of people are stuck in high school, or they're either stuck in the same town, stuck in the same city. Right. And that was a big thing that I did not like about where I lived. It was everyone always stayed there. It was like a generation.
It's a lot of this and this rather than this. Yeah, exactly.
There's no growing. There's just a generation town. So it's like, oh, yeah, my great grandfather lived on these grounds. It's like, cool. Well, he's dead. So, you know, like, move on. Go somewhere else.
Can't wait to be a farmer like my dad.
I know, right? learn your life. That was one thing but yeah, and like the diversity of it all was good. The thing I didn't like about high school, and this is more just about, you know, my high school, was, dude, everyone was just stupid. Like, everyone was just dumb. Like, you had your cliques. You had kind of the goth kids. You had the jocks. You had the popular ones. You had the cheerleaders. You had the artsy people. You had the nerds. And I kind of was like, not really through all of those, but like I didn't really have one. I was just with my group of friends, and we were kind of like, they listened to like a lot of like kind of like rock music and like pop, and it was kind of a mixture of everything. But I look back now, and like everyone either got pregnant right out of high school, they got married right out of high school. You know, I remember my high school, our death rate was like 2 kids every year would die from either being drunk on like behind the wheel, overdosing. We had one person get run over by a school bus.
So you kind of moved through these friend groups,
I kind of moved through.
I feel like that might be why we're friends as well, because I did the same thing. Yeah. I was never just a jock, or never just a sports guy, or I liked art, but I wasn't the art guy. I was a little bit of everything.
That would probably be my negative thing about school is, you know, I don't like schools that are so small, right? I mean, you went to a bigger school. You went to what? A&M Consolidated?
It was 500 per grade.
Yeah, see, for me, it was like 190.
2,000 to 3,000, something like that.
Yeah, for me, it was 190 in my graduating class.
Oh, okay.
We had like maybe like 700 kids in the whole school. And like for those small towns, like you just get kind of locked in. And my favorite thing probably is, dude, everyone, it's like the best revenge. Because I mean, sure, I was the smallest kid in high school, so I was, you know, bullied a little bit here and there.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's crazy. I like that.
I was bullied a little bit. But now, right, you know, all these people that bullied me, I'm just like, okay, you're either...
Yeah, they look at you like, oh, wow, what am I doing?
I look at them on like Facebook, and I'm just like, oh, you're a dad to 5 kids, and you know, I see where you're living, and I see what you're doing. Obviously, like, you know, I won that battle, right?
That's terrible.
I know, it's a little terrible, right? It's awful, but it's still funny. It's like, I won that battle, right? Or like all the... You know, I mean, you look at it and it's like, okay, you either became successful, or in better words, you got fat.
I think like, it also...
like, as messed up as that is. But it's true. It's so true.
It shows you that the people that are the ones that are actively learning, getting better, have a passion for something, those are the ones that work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that end up becoming successful.
Yeah.
The ones that don't are the ones that point, look down. They're the loud ones.
And that brings me back to what I said just a second ago. It's like all of the people that, let's say, they weren't the most athletic, right? Or they weren't the most, built, right? I see them now, and now they're either jacked, they're in great shape, because really all they could do was go up, which I think is great for them because, they were all nice people. And then you see all the people that were like the jocks on the football team, basketball team, whatever. And now you see them now, and they're a little more on the rounder side. They got the beer bellies going, and I'm like, dang, that because they started, they had it all, right? And then they got stuck in high school, and then they graduate, and then they're just like, well, what do I do now? It's like I can just go to work and drink beer. And
you have to always think
you can do
from
better.
An investing
always,
kind of
standpoint. It's an investment. You can always do better, and there are some people that just don't think that. Right, or they think that they are doing better.
They get lost.
And so that's my opinions on high schools, mainly small high schools, because I mean small towns, right?
It's the same thing, just on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, even bigger.
No, like what I mean by it's the same thing you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I experienced at my high school. It's just on a bigger scale, meaning there's more people in that goth group. There's more people in that jock group.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's the same exact thing. People get stuck in high school, especially from my town, because it was College Station. A&M has the biggest, I think it was 80-90% of the people that went to my high school went to A&M.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this huge, stay in the town party kind of culture. And so people get stuck there. And then
I can't stand that.
By the end of college.
When I got out of high school and I went to college, I would barely go home just because I never wanted to go back to that town.
Me too.
Parents weren't the happiest about it, but I go home maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And since this day, I haven't been back in probably about 4 years. I have not been back to my old town, even though my family doesn't live there anymore. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have a reason to, but I haven't been back even through that area.
Dude, I love it though now, because it kind of used to be people would go back to see friends or to party with their high school friends. But now it's you go back to see your family, and it's you get to still do your own thing. And if you do see a friend, they're like, oh, so what are you doing now? And then you get to tell them.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, no, I'm actually doing this and this. And they're like, dang, I'm helping my dad with his business.
I'm working at the movie theater still.
Theaters.
I make the popcorn really good.
Damn. So that was a straight call out at someone, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Damn.
Definitely is.
That sounded like it.
But but all right. Anything else you want to add, man? We've been talking a lot. I've honestly enjoyed this a lot. It's been fun.
This has been a really fun one. I think that's pretty much it. Another shout out to Jeffrey, our homie. He's going to be
Jeffrey
on all of our podcasts.
Cheers. Here, you want some coffee?
Yeah. No, don't.
There we go. He got a little bit.
A little bit?
Just a little bit.
All right. So yeah, Jeffrey, he'll be joining us from now on. And yeah, no, we're excited. We're gonna have some night podcasts, I think, coming, and I know we said soon.
A few weeks,
we'll
couple
probably
weeks.
Wait a little bit longer to do our first one. But yeah, dude, it's exciting. Anything you want to add before we?
No, I think I'm all done. What's your favorite high school story? What's your favorite college story? Put it in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know.
Do you want to do one thing before we leave? We forgot one thing, and
we can do one thing.
Top 3.
You're right. Top 3 what?
So this will be what we end the podcast with, and right after this, we'll kind of cut it. But top 3 snacks, things they served in cafeteria lunches.
That's right. We did want to do that. All right. We'll alternate. So number 3, okay, definitely the pizza.
So we're starting with 3, okay. Pizza. So that was a bad one for me, but.
Well, the pizza was always bad, but it was just iconic because it was in the little squares.
We're talking iconic?
It was like the square, square pizza.
I agree.
Literally the size of
I'm going to go regular cheeseburger.
The regular cheeseburger?
That's what came to mind as my 3.
Okay.
The regular cheeseburger was iconic because, I don't know, it had this weird taste. You wouldn't get it from fast food. Mm-hmm. It was just that's the cafeteria burger. It's the same everywhere you go.
The chicken nuggets.
That's your 2?
Chicken nuggets is my number 2.
That's a good one. I'm about to shock you, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay. Well, what's your number 2?
You might not have had this because this was an extra add-on item. Okay. You had to pay extra every time you got it.
Okay.
The ice cream cone.
Ice cream.
Or
we never
ice
had
cream
we never had the
sandwiches.
cones. We had the little cups of ice cream.
Cups. Ooh,
Like the little like Bluebell single serving cups.
All
We had
ice
those.
cream, yeah. Those were a part of the lunch, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The ice cream cone, that was the extra.
We had the cup of ice cream, and then you had like the strawberry or chocolate swirl inside.
Yeah, and then so you had the scoop.
Yeah.
That was iconic.
All right, my number one.
Number one.
Right?
You're going to probably say my one,
the
too.
Sloppy Joe.
Ooh.
The Sloppy Joe.
That's a sneaky one. That's a sneaky one.
Dude, always the same. The sloppiest, sloppy.
I think I won, though. I think I won
right there. All right, what's yours?
The smiley fries.
I never had those.
What?
Never had those.
You never had the smiley fries?
No, I mean I've eaten them before, but we never had those in like high school or anything like that.
It must have been a local thing or only like certain schools in my district, but the smiley fries were so iconic.
Dude, that sounds good though. I remember those as a kid.
All of my schools growing up, I had it, and so that was what I was like. When you see that, you think cafeteria. That for me, I think cafeteria food.
That's pretty good. Okay, I like that.
So comment what your top three are.
Yeah, also comment your top three cafeteria foods growing up. We're going to go ahead and end it right there.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, follow us. Listen to us on Spotify. You can't really watch us on Spotify.
Yeah, not yet. We might throw up the video.
And check us out on Instagram and TikTok. All right. Well, thanks for joining, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Peace out.
Peace out.